Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk about Spirited Away because it's like the 20th anniversary of it, I believe, and I recently saw this a few days ago at the movie theaters because Fathom Event, every once in a while they play Studio Ghibli movies. Highly recommend checking them out because they look so good on the big screen. I believe My Neighbor Totoro is playing in a couple of weeks, so if you want to see those, the link is in the description. Highly recommend seeing them on the big screen. So I've seen this once before, which was back in 2019 when Fathom Events brought them back again. So it was nice seeing it after a couple of years. The first time I saw it in English, but the second time I saw it in Japanese. And I gotta say, I think I like the Japanese version a little bit better. I'm not one of those sticklers who are like, hey, that's not, the dub isn't authentic or any of that bullshit. I think both languages add something different to it, you know? I mean, I personally prefer the Japanese, at least for this movie, but like, there's a lot of good dubs out there, so I'm not here to slam on anybody who likes those. But getting on to the review, first off, I want to say I love the music in this movie. It's very epic. It's just, I don't know, it sets the tone for the movie. Very, like, otherworldly and epic. A lot of brass, I appreciate, it just adds to the whole bombastic, slightly chaotic, but also serene atmosphere to it. And I think the animation is probably like some of the best animation I've ever seen. It's very fluid, like, every frame of the movie, something's going on, like, something's always moving in the backgrounds, like, whether it be the ducks or the frogs, the little suit people. Everything's happening at every moment, but it doesn't seem like it's moving too fast. It's a nice kind of slow-paced film, but there's still a lot going on. The movie uses a nice mix of 2D and 3D animation, and some of the cool 3D animation shots is like when she's running through the flowers. That looks really cool. I like how this movie doesn't try to explain itself too much. It leaves enough to the audience's imagination while still giving us only enough information to support the story. It doesn't use too much exposition like, say, the Chris Chibnall era of Doctor Who does. It's more similar to a David Lynch movie or maybe The Sopranos, where they don't really give us that much information, but they kind of give us enough to piece things together. So the movie is about leaving our ordinary world and life and entering a completely different one, meeting all sorts of new characters and going on an adventure. It's very childish movie, not as an insult, not to be taken as an insult, but it's very innocent because Chihiro, the main character, is a very innocent young character. So she's thrusted into this whole new world and gets to experience all this crazy stuff. It's a very interesting plot, and I don't know. It captures a sense of childhood wonder, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So basically, they go through this portal to a different world, and the parents eat the spirit's food, and because of their supposed gluttony, they don't eat the pigs, which I think is very unfair, because they didn't know they were stealing. Nobody was around. They asked, like, hey, is this your food? Nobody answered them. So I think they had all the right to take the food. I mean, maybe they ate it a bit too fast, but, I think it's unfair to say that they were stealing because they said, oh, we'll just pay for them, we'll just leave money on the table. So, in all defense and purposes, I feel like they were not stealing. They had the best intentions. Fun fact, the English dub, the dad is voiced by Michael Chiklis. Um, anyway. How would they know that it was the spirit's food they were eating if they didn't see anybody? Uh, hashtag justice for Chihiro's parents. So Chihiro's pretty much on her own, and she's forced to survive in this world by working for this resort for spirits, with very harsh working conditions, which mirror, in a way, large corporations, kind of like Chinese sweatshops, where they're forced to do intensive labor pretty much all the time. I don't know if that was Miyazaki's intention. So honestly, if I point out any things like I think are similar, it's more of like my perspective of watching the movie. I'm not saying this is what he meant by doing this. I'm saying like this is what reminded me of it. This is what it means to me. So in my opinion, what it looks like is a Chinese sweatshop. And there's also a man with six arms named Kamaji. and he has these suit employees whose only function in life is to make file. And this means that, some people, when they're depressed and they feel stuck in life with no motivation, they feel that life has no meaning outside of their jobs. We've all been there. You know what it's like. There's also a woman who runs this resort. Is this mysterious witch named Yobaba. And she has this giant bratty baby. I hate children, by the way. I hate babies. So, this baby, um, it shows how the vocals have to appease the elites, even though none of them seem to know about who the baby is. They just have to dedicate their entire lives to solving your baba, who dedicates her entire life to solving the baby. It's pretty confusing, leaves a lot to your imagination. Like, who's the father of this baby? We never really know. Is this baby really a baby? Like, how old is he? We don't know. But he's been kept in this room his entire life. It looks like a really nice playset, though. And he has been sheltered from reality. I do like his stuffed animals, though, so that'd be kind of, I'll give you Baba that. She has good taste in stuffed animals. She also has these three disembodied green heads. Now, I'm not even going to try to say what that symbolizes, because, you know, I have no idea what the fuck that's about. It's just a bunch of three green heads. And to Hero has to give Yobab a whole name, and she has to go by Sen, meaning that she, like most vocals, only noteworthy as a vocal, not a human. To these large corporate entities, they don't care about your feelings, they don't care about your life. You're just another number to them. There's also the Stink Spirit, who reminds me of my former co-vocal. Um, but, he might also represent pollution, because he's really a river spirit, but he was corrupted by loads of garbage, which made him a very stinky boy. But after Chihiro cleans him, he's healthier and happier. So I know that Miyazaki is really big on the environment, so I feel like that's a fair assessment to say that was his meaning. But, like I said, I'm not him, so I wouldn't know. Then there's a quasi-villain, not really a villain, No-Face, who's this very greedy and gluttonous spirit who taunts people with gold until he pretty much just eats them. But he's never able to satisfy his hunger, which kind of makes him sad. So, poor No-Face, I guess. But he becomes kinder after meeting Yubaba's twin sister. She's a much better person than Yubaba, even though they look exactly alike. She kind of reminds me of my grandma's Cossetti a bit. Um, well, anyway, Yubaba's twin sister gives him a better atmosphere to be around, so he decides to live with her instead, and he becomes much kinder. Not only to Chiro, but also, like pretty much everybody else. The bunny baby thing. The baby comes with, like I said, he turns into this bunny, and one of the green heads, I think, turns into this fly. It's very strange. And they start liking Chihiro, so when she gets back to Yobaba, he convinces her to let Chihiro leave. Also, Chihiro finds out that Haku is not only a dragon, but also a river spirit, similar to the stink monster. Even though, like, he forgot his name, so Haku doesn't remember who he used to be because he forgot his name. But we find out that his real name is Kohaku. It's very similar to Haku, so I'm confused, like, how he forgot his name. That's like, that's like me going by Cub and forgetting my name's Jacob. I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, we also find out that Chihiro, when she was like a little girl, she was drowning in the lake, his lake, years ago, but he saved her and brought her to the shore. Which kind of shows that, like, even before they met each other, Haku was always her guardian angel. And at the end of the movie, she's able to return home because your Baba let her return home because the baby was like, if you don't let her come home, then I won't like you anymore. So that's a pretty good argument. So she lets her go home, and her parents are safe, and she wonders if her adventures really happened. But, they think they've only been inside for like 20 minutes or something, but they come out, and the car is like covered in dust and leaves and stuff, which shows that either several days have passed or several weeks have passed. So that kind of proves that the adventure really did happen. So, what do I think about this movie? I think this movie is awesome. Um, it's a very good movie if you're like not really familiar with anime and you're wondering where to start. I'd say Spirited Away is a pretty good bet, because it appeals to like Eastern demographics as well as Western. It's just, I don't know, very well written, well animated, beautiful music. Miyazaki's the king. I don't think he could be touched. It's like, in my opinion, Studio Ghibli is like the Japanese version of Pixar. Though, like 90% of the movies are awesome. They've had a couple misses. Pixar's had a couple misses. They both had a couple. Like, nobody's perfect, but I like Pixar is widely regarded as America's best animated studio, and I like to say that Ghibli was probably Japan's best animated studio. And I'm very excited to see what Miyazaki has next because he's making a new movie, which apparently he's only able to animate 12 minutes of footage a year because everybody else does computer animated movies now, but he's like, fuck that, I'm doing hand drawn animations because that's what he's always known. So I'm very excited to see what that project is. Hopefully he doesn't die before then, because the man's got to be pretty old by now. Like he's been making movies since the '80s. So hopefully he lives long enough to finish that. But either way, like he has such a great legacy left behind. Um, so I don't know if this is my favorite Ghibli movie. This is probably my second favorite. My favorite is probably Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I think that movie is fantastic. That might even have a better music score than Spirited Away. I don't know, it's pretty close. So if you come back to the channel in a couple weeks, I will be uploading a video on Howl's Moving Castle, which is the next Studio Ghibli movie they're bringing back. I highly suggest you guys watch it because these movies look so much better on the big screen than they do on TV. Like they look good on TV, but on the big screen you can see the detail of the animation. It's really beautiful stuff. So, like I said, links in the description so you can find out like where it's playing in your area. Trust me, I'm not being sponsored by this. I only have like 49 followers. I'm just saying, if you want to check it out, check it out. Let me know what you guys think of Spirited Away down in the comments, and let me know what your favorite Studio Ghibli movie is. And I will be talking to you guys next time for another video on Doctor Who, my favorite show of all time. So everybody have to have a nice day and stay safe and peace.